College isn't everything, my father warned me. Just remember about us when you're off becoming a big shot, my mother remarked. My parents, on the other hand, were very understanding when Amy barely graduated from high school and decided not to attend college. They appreciated her for knowing herself and challenging conventional norms. They did something they never did for me. They paid for her car as a graduation gift. This repeated favoritism caused me significant emotional distress. Throughout my teens and early 20s, I battled anxiety and sadness. I began therapy in college and realized that my parents' behaviors were not my responsibility. Years of effort were required to improve my self-esteem and learn to validate myself without relying on my parents' approval. Despite the fact that my immediate family did not support me, I was able to live a respectable life. By the time I graduated from college with honors, I had a respectable job in finance and had even acquired my own home by the age of 27. Although my parents aren't, I'm proud of what I've accomplished. Here is where the present drama begins. On my father's side, my grandfather died not long ago. He left a big estate and was a successful entrepreneur who began from scratch. In his will, he divided his property evenly to his grandchildren, including myself, Amy, and our cousins, as well as his children, father, and siblings. My half of the inheritance was substantial, about $500,000. It would have allowed me to invest in my future, pay off my student loans, and possibly even start my own business someday. This unexpected windfall and the opportunities it could provide made me thrilled. When the will was read, my parents visibly became irritated. Later, they got me aside and told me that they thought it was unfair that I received an equal share. Amy, who lives in our parents' basement and works part-time at a coffee shop, said she needed the money more because she was struggling. Even though I was surprised, I tried to remain calm. I stressed that Grandpa made this decision. They had no say in how he did it. They insisted that I act morally and give Amy my due share. They were upset when I declined and started guilt-tripping me, calling me unappreciative and selfish. Every occasion that my father could recall in which they had assisted me was discussed. Though I worked part-time to help with funds, Dad prioritized paying for my medically necessary braces, purchasing the absolute minimum of school supplies, and allowing me to live at home while attending college. He conveniently forgot about the car they purchased Amy, the numerous shopping trips, and the fact that they still support her at the age of 25. The situation became increasingly more serious. My father, as executor of the will, decided to handle everything himself. Along with her own inheritance, he claimed that he would interpret Grandpa's intentions and give Amy my entire share. He said Grandpa would have hoped he knew about our unusual predicament. I was broken. This was not only clearly illegal, but it was also a painful reminder of how little my parents thought of me. I tried to argue with them, pointing out that Grandpa had always treated all of his grandchildren equally and was aware of our situation. My mother then accused me of speaking badly of the deceased by saying that Grandpa would have wanted anything other than what my father advocated. I recalled memories of Grandpa encouraging my academic and career objectives, but my parents dismissed them as misinterpretation. They stated that Grandpa wanted to make sure Amy was taken care of and had quietly expressed concerns about her future. When I inquired why he hadn't simply penned the will that way, they didn't respond. Amy, for her part, felt embarrassed in the situation but did not criticize our parents. When I tried to talk to her alone, she simply shrugged and said, "Mom and Dad know best." She was clearly not going to be much help. I sought advice from Grandpa's widow, my paternal grandmother, as I felt misled and wounded. She grew outraged when she found out what was going on. She informed me that my parents had no right to change the will, and that this was not what Grandpa had intended. Grandma sent some material that clarifies the situation. Several years ago, my parents allegedly urged Grandpa to leave everything to Amy in his will. Grandpa had fiercely resisted, stating that all of his grandchildren should be treated equally. He had even inserted a provision in his will stating that anyone who challenged the equitable distribution would lose their peace. Armed with this knowledge, I questioned my parents. Grandma's revelation of their previous attempt to influence the will astonished them. Saying they were simply concerned with Amy's future helped my father explain it, but I could see the guilt on their faces. Grandmother acted immediately away. She contacted the other executors and lawyers listed in her will. She also contacted my father's siblings, who were similarly outraged by what he was proposing. Together, they put an end to my father's scheme and ensured that the will was carried out as intended. Despite their displeasure with me, my parents had to back down. They stated that I should have addressed this internally rather than involving others and accused me of turning the family against me. My mother wailed over how I had divided the family and deceived them. When my father threatened to cut me completely out of their will, I told him I never expected anything from them. Now, If I accept the request, they threaten to cut off all communication. My father even suggested that if I inherited their house, I would not be welcome there. In a particularly low blow, my mother stated that my acceptance of the money shows that I never genuinely loved them and was only looking to profit from their death. The issue divides the extended family. A handful of my cousins are supportive since they are aware of the long-standing favoritism and appreciate my efforts to advocate for myself. Others feel I should have yielded in order to maintain peace, as family harmony takes precedence over financial concerns. Although my father's siblings are clearly on my side, this has affected their relationship as well as my parents. Amy is caught up in all of this. She revealed in me privately that, while she feels horrible and did not ask for it, she is not ready to confront our parents. She's been educated her entire life to rely on them and seek their approval, so I don't blame her completely. Still, a part of me wishes she could help me just once. This situation has brought back a lot of prior pain and hatred. I find myself recalling all the times I was passed over or disregarded in favor of Amy, the birthday parties I missed, the school functions my parents missed, the accomplishments that went unnoticed. This one incident seemed to be bringing to a close a lifetime of injustice. Despite the fact that the entire event has created a schism in the family, I am standing firm and want to claim my inheritance as Grandpa intended. My parents rarely talk to me, and family gatherings have become awkward. I missed our monthly family supper last week for the first time in as long as I could bear the icy shoulders and accusing glares. Despite the stress, a small part of me feels empowered. For the first time in my life, I am confronting my parents' harsh treatment. I'm declaring my worth and refusing to be written off. It's both dreadful and liberating at once. Though I believe I am in the right, the family turmoil is tiring me. I've been experiencing anxiety episodes again, which I hadn't had since college. To cope with all of this stress, I'm considering returning to therapy. Am I the one who should have refused to meet my parents' expectations and accepted my inheritance? Should I have simply given Amy the money to keep the peace? Although I am tired of being the family scapegoat, I am equally afraid of losing my family completely. Any advice or comment would be greatly appreciated. Update. A lot has transpired since my initial post, which was 6 months ago. I'd want to thank everyone for their encouragement and advice. It helped me stay strong throughout tough times. Let me start with the legal side of things. Many of you cautioned me, and I did consult my own attorney. He confirmed that I had every right to inherit, and that what my father attempted was illegal. He assisted me in recording everything and preparing to take legal action if necessary. Fortunately, things did not turn out as expected. My grandmother, together with my father's brothers, and her lawyers resolved issues outside of court. I received my entire money, and the will was carried out exactly as intended. My father was dismissed from his position as executor due to his attempts to manipulate the will. This was a pretty tough process that lasted several weeks. My parents threatened litigation, and there were stressful meetings and angry phone calls, but the law was clear, and they had to back down. The family rupture, which is still ongoing, is significant. My parents initially remained firm in their stance. They accused me of being avaricious and uncaring of my sister. They also attempted to rally other family members against me, spreading charges that I had pressured Grandpa into giving me money. Fortunately, most of the family saw through their deception. About a month after the will was accepted, there was one particularly terrible incident at a family gathering. My parents caused a disturbance when they arrived unannounced, despite the fact that my aunt was hosting and had not invited them. My father began to yell about how I had stolen from Amy and corrupted Grandma against her. My mother tossed an old photo album straight at my feet, claiming that I had wrecked all these great memories. It was unpleasant and terrible. It took several family members to calm things down and persuade my parents to go. My grandmother, bless her heart, proved to be my most significant supporter throughout this process. She told stories about how my grandfather had always been proud of my accomplishments and how he wanted to ensure that all of his grandchildren had equal opportunities. She even claimed Grandpa kept a scrapbook of my successes, including newspaper clippings of academic distinctions, copies of my college acceptance letters, and even the program from the university play that my parents had been late for. This understanding was both sad and amazing. Grandma also offered to help the rest of the family organize their records. She staged a family meeting that excluded my parents, recounting the full history of my parents' prejudice, even episodes I had long forgotten or had never heard of. Having someone finally realize the injustice I had endured for years was gratifying, but it also revived old wounds. About my sister Amy, she finally found her voice throughout all this. She approached me personally and apologized for not standing up for me before after some soul-searching and several lengthy conversations with our grandmother. She claimed she thought our parents' preference was inappropriate, but she was too afraid to challenge it. We talked about our childhood